The gate agent looked at the black man's first-class ticket and slid it back like it was trash. "Sir, this cabin isn't for you," she said, loud enough for the whole boarding line to hear. Why did no one speak when his seat was given away? Why did airport security move closer when he only asked for the policy in writing? And why did one quiet phone call from that same man make 167 flights freeze on the runway within minutes? Before sunrise, executives were shouting, passengers were filming, and $3.9 billion in revenue hung over one sentence he had not yet said: "Stay until the end," because the seat was never the real problem. The corner of the boarding pass bent under Claire Whitmore's thumb. "Sir, step aside," she said. Marcus Hale did not move. The lane at B-17 had narrowed into 2 ropes, 2 metal posts, and tired passengers under cold terminal lights. Outside, the aircraft waited with vapor sliding from a ground unit. "My seat is 2A, Marcus said. Claire glanced at the pass. Her red nails tapped the scanner screen. "This aircraft is full in first. It was full when I checked in. Then the system corrected it." A man in a camel coat behind Marcus coughed. "Some of us have connections." Marcus kept his eyes on the counter. "I'd like the reason in writing." The tapping stopped. Victor Sloan, the security officer near the jet bridge door, shifted his weight. "We do not provide written explanations at the gate," Claire said. "Then call a supervisor." "I am the senior manager." Marcus placed his folder beside the ticket. "Then cite the policy." Claire looked at his face longer than the document. Plain dark jacket. No watch meant to be noticed. A suitcase beside his foot. "Sir," she said louder now, "this cabin is not available to you." Heads turned. A child's backpack bumped a metal post, and the wheel clicked twice before going still. "My ticket says otherwise." Claire slid the pass back. It scraped across the counter and stopped with the bent corner facing up. "You've been reassigned to 34F. "I did not request that." "The aircraft door closes in 4 minutes." "Then 4 minutes is enough to print the rule." Victor stepped closer. "Sir, keep the line moving." "She has my boarding document." On the screen beneath Claire's hand, Marcus saw an amber override notice. Claire pressed the intercom. "Final boarding for Flight 918 to Seattle." The man in the camel coat stepped around Marcus. Claire scanned his phone. "Enjoy your flight, Mr. Vale." Marcus watched him disappear down the jet bridge. "That was my seat." "That was authorized boarding." "By whom?" "This is your last opportunity to accept the seat assigned." Marcus wrote on a receipt. 6:42 a.m. Gate B-17. Seat reassigned after document presented. Victor's radio hissed. "Gate B-17, status." Claire lifted her chin. "Passenger refusing instructions." The line behind him did not defend him. It shuffled, looking at shoes, screens, coats, the aircraft, anywhere except the counter. Marcus slid the receipt into his folder. Then he picked up the pass and smoothed the bent corner with his thumb. "I need your full name." Claire blinked. "For a complaint?" "For the record." "You can file anything you like after you leave this area," Claire said. Marcus took out his phone. "Sir, do not record employees." "I'm not recording." His daughter's name, Naomi, sat near the top of recent calls. His finger hovered there. Then he scrolled past it and selected a number saved with 3 letters. The call connected before the second ring. "This is Hale," he said. "Begin contract integrity hold. All dependent nodes. Immediate verification. No exceptions." "Confirming authority?" a woman said. Marcus looked at the bent corner of the pass. "Authority confirmed. Use my personal key." The first amber delay appeared above Gate B17 before Claire understood what he had done. The shuttle doors sighed open at 5:18 a.m., letting in wet November air. Marcus stepped down with his suitcase while Earl Benson lowered the ramp for an elderly couple. The driver's gloves were cracked, and the lever gave a tired groan. "Big travel day," Earl said. "It usually does," Marcus answered. "You flying alone?" "Today, yes." White light spread across the curb. Diesel hung low. Tires whispered through rainwater. Marcus checked the board and saw the first wrong thing. 3 westbound flights listed as on time, though his report had flagged crew shortages. Earl followed his gaze. "Looks smooth in there." "Looks can be useful," Marcus said, "until they're not." His phone vibrated before the doors. Naomi. He stopped beside a pillar marked B. "Morning," he said. "You're already at the airport?" Her voice sounded careful. "Just arrived." "You said you'd be in Atlanta until noon." "I have to be in Seattle for a contract review. I'll be back tonight." "For the dinner?" Marcus looked through the glass. Inside, an employee wiped coffee from a kiosk. "For the dinner," he said. "You missed the last one." "I know." "And hospice fundraiser." The cold moved through his shoes. "I remember." Behind him, a suitcase tipped over, and someone laughed too loudly. "Mom would have hated this," she said. Marcus opened his wallet. The old photo was tucked behind his license. Naomi at 14 in a blue dress, her mother's hand on her shoulder. The plastic sleeve had split, and the corner caught when he tried to slide it free. "She would have told me to fix what I can and come home before dessert," he said. "That sounds like her. The coming home part, mostly." "I'll make it." "Don't say it if you're calculating risk." A cleaning cart rattled past. Marcus watched the yellow bucket wobble. "I'm not calculating," he said. "I'm promising." The call ended with no goodbye, just the click of a line released too soon. Inside, warmth hit him with burnt coffee, floor polish, and cinnamon. He passed kiosks. 2 showed frozen loading circles. A third flashed, "Lookup unavailable." At the priority counter, a young agent smiled without seeing him. "Economy bag drop is left, sir." "I'm not checking a bag." Then security starts past the blue signs. Marcus placed his ID and boarding pass down. "I have pre-cleared access and a first-class seat on Flight 918. The agent glanced down. Her smile tightened. "Oh, Gate B17. Thank you." He took back the pass, warm from the printer, smooth except for one faint crease. Near security, his phone vibrated again. Amara Singh. "Marcus, I know you're boarding soon," she said, "but Atlanta operations are still showing manual corrections." "How many?" "Enough to bother me. Gate assignments, crew timestamps, seat moves." "Send me the packet." "Already did." "And Marcus?" "Yes?" "If the review asks whether Hartwell is stable, I can't honestly say yes." Marcus watched a family argue over a stroller. Beyond them, a supervisor waved at a line bending into the concourse. "Then don't," he said. He touched the wallet once, feeling the trapped edge of Naomi's photo through the leather. Then the doors opened, and Gate B17 waited beyond security with its lights too bright for the hour. By 5:51 a.m., Gate B17 smelled of reheated coffee and damp wool. Marcus stood near a charging column, reading Amara's packet. The first page showed a clean dashboard. The second showed hidden fields, 6 seat moves, 2 crew edits, 1 delay removed. At the counter, Claire Whitmore leaned over her terminal. "No, Mrs. Bell," she said. "Your assistant's note is not missing. It is simply not attached to this group." The elderly woman wore a beige raincoat. One hand rested on a cane, The other held a paper itinerary. "My daughter called yesterday," Ruth Bell said. "She said someone would meet me at the door." Claire's red nail tapped the screen. Tap, tap, tap. "Then your daughter should have confirmed it with the airline." Ruth's mouth opened, then closed. A young technician in a gray vest stepped beside the counter with a cracked tablet. "Claire, the bridge sensor's throwing a caution. I need 90 seconds before you board." Claire did not look at him. "Milo, not now. It's the same caution from C-12. And maintenance cleared it. After the delay was logged." Her nail struck the glass harder. Milo Reyes was thin, 28, with dark curls flattened by a headset band. He turned the tablet so only Claire could see the amber line. "If the bridge locks, passengers stand in the tunnel." Claire smiled at Ruth instead. "Ma'am, please sit near the window." Ruth turned slowly. Her cane tip clicked once. Marcus stepped aside. "Thank you," she murmured. "You're welcome." She glanced at his phone. "Does yours say this flight is on time?" "For now," Marcus said. Across the gate, Claire answered a call. Her posture changed before her voice did. "Yes, Mr. Keller. We're green at B-17. Marcus looked up. Claire listened. "No, I won't let a mobility note break the wave." Milo's eyes flicked toward Marcus, then away. The speaker above the counter buzzed and died. A burnt smell drifted from a pastry kiosk. Outside, blue service lights moved under the wing. Claire covered the phone. "Clear it locally. I can't clear a caution I haven't inspected. You can mark it observed. That's not the same thing." "It is at 5:54. Marcus folded the packet closed. He had heard that sentence in different forms, the same shape. Claire uncovered the phone. "I'll handle it." A man in a navy suit muttered, "Some people enjoy making travel harder." Ruth heard it. Her fingers tightened around the itinerary until the fold tore. Marcus walked to the counter. "Excuse me," he said. She was told someone would meet her at the door. Claire's eyes moved from his shoes to his face. "Are you traveling with her?" "No." "Then I cannot discuss her reservation. I'm asking whether the request can be verified before boarding." Claire's nail resumed its rhythm. Tap, tap. "Sir, passengers are welcome to manage their own needs." Ruth whispered, "I did try." Marcus turned slightly toward her. "I know." Claire's headset chimed. B-17 ready. Milo stepped closer. "It isn't." Claire spoke over him. "Boarding will begin in 10 minutes. Marcus looked at the terminal screen reflected in his leather folder. A warning box, a manual override, and Claire's finger hovering over dismiss. The nail came down, and the line disappeared. At 6:07 a.m., the boarding lane opened with a soft click of the rope. "First class and priority passengers for Flight 918, Claire said into the microphone. "You may now line up." Marcus slid Amara's packet into his leather folder. The blue gate screen reflected across the cover, turning Seattle backward. Ruth Bell stood ahead of him, still waiting for the attendant. "I was told someone would help me down the bridge," Ruth said. "We are boarding now, ma'am." "My knee doesn't do well on slopes. The bridge is level." From the wall, Milo Reyes raised his tablet. "It drops near the aircraft door." Claire did not turn. "Milo, return to maintenance." Marcus stepped forward. "She can go ahead of me. I'll wait." Claire's eyes fell to his boarding pass. They stopped on 2A. "This pass needs verification." It verified at check-in. Gate verification is separate. Behind him, Preston Vale, in a camel coat, gave a quiet laugh. "I'm in 2B. Is there confusion?" "There won't be," Claire said. Marcus placed his ID beside the pass. "Marcus Hale, Flight 918, Seat 2A." Claire picked up the ID. Do you have another form? That is government issued. For clarity. The scanner chirped red. Marcus saw her thumb move before the message appeared. She angled the screen away. What did it say? Please step aside. Read it aloud. That isn't required. A vent blew cold air down his collar. Ruth stayed beside him, cane tip pressed to the floor. He was ahead of me, she said. His ticket said first. Claire gave her a flat smile. Ma'am, board before we close assistance. Ruth did not move. Marcus kept his voice low. If there is a problem with my seat, print the change receipt. We do not print internal corrections. Then call the supervisor. I have full gate authority. Preston leaned closer. I'll switch if this delays us. That won't be necessary, Mr. Vale. In the folder's reflection, Marcus saw 2A highlighted in amber, 34F blinking beneath it. I did not accept a reassignment. Claire's nail tapped once. The system accepted it. Systems don't accept for passengers. Lila Monroe lifted her phone. A red dot glowed on the screen. Claire slid Marcus's ID back. It stopped against his knuckle. Sir, this cabin has been reconciled. With my paid seat inside it. With a seating inventory that no longer shows you there. Because someone changed it. Because the flight must depart. Marcus opened his folder. I'm requesting the name of the employee who authorized the move. You can file a complaint after travel. I am trying to travel. No one behind him spoke. Claire pressed a key. Seat 34F is available. That is not an explanation. It is an accommodation. For a problem I did not create. Victor appeared near the jet bridge door. Everything all right? Claire did not take her eyes off Marcus. A passenger is refusing his assigned seat. My assigned seat is 2A. Victor looked at the pass, then at Claire. Sir, he said, let's not make this bigger. Marcus picked up the pass. The corner was bent where Claire's thumb had pressed it down. I'm not making it bigger, he said. I'm asking you not to make it false. Behind her, the gate screen changed to Now Boarding. The words Now Boarding glowed behind Claire like an order. Marcus held the bent pass between two fingers. The corner had gone soft, but 2A was still printed clean in black. Victor looked from Claire to the line. Sir, there are people waiting. I see them, Marcus said. Then help us keep this moving. Claire leaned into the microphone. Final call for first class and priority. Passengers stepped around Marcus as if he were a spill. Ruth Bell stayed beside him. He didn't do anything. Claire's smile tightened. Ma'am, please board. I saw his ticket. We all saw his ticket, Preston Vale said. The question is whether it belongs in that cabin. Lila Monroe lifted her phone. A red dot trembled on the screen. Marcus turned the pass toward Claire. You have not provided one policy, receipt, or supervisor. I have provided a seat. Not the seat I purchased. Sir, 34F is available. Take it, or we document refusal. The espresso machine hissed. Beyond the glass, a tug vehicle beeped. Cold air flattened Marcus's collar. Victor moved closer. Mr. Hale? Yes. Let's step over there. Am I being removed? You're being asked to cooperate. With instructions? Marcus smoothed the crease with his thumb. Instructions can be lawful and still be wrong. I'm asking which kind these are. Claire's eyes cut toward the faces. He is delaying the aircraft. Ruth's cane tapped once. I'll wait, too. No, Marcus said. Please don't risk your flight. My daughter is meeting me in Seattle. Then let her meet you. Ruth's fingers tightened. But someone should say it. You did. Claire pressed her lips together. Mrs. Bell, if you do not board now, your assistance request will be marked refused. The old woman's shoulders lowered. Before she passed, she looked back. I'm sorry. Marcus nodded once. Safe flight. Claire scanned Ruth through without meeting her eyes. Then she picked up the microphone. Passenger Marcus Hale, seat 34F. Please proceed or clear the boarding lane. His name carried across B17. Lila's mouth opened, but she did not speak. My assigned seat is 2A, Marcus said. Claire pulled a fresh slip from the printer. Corrected. Marcus looked down. 34F. Near the bottom, the reason field read, Passenger preference. He lifted his eyes. That is false. It is what the system records. It is what you entered. Victor's radio crackled. B17, gate status? Claire answered. Passenger refusing instructions. Marcus placed the false slip beside his bent pass. Print the audit trail. Claire gave a small laugh. Sir, you don't have access to records. No, Marcus said. But someone does. Victor's hand hovered near Marcus's elbow. Claire lowered her voice. Last chance. Board 34F or leave the gate. Marcus watched the jet bridge door. Preston Vale was inside, carrying the seat, changed without a question. Behind the counter, an amber warning box vanished beneath Claire's palm. Marcus picked up his leather folder. His suitcase wheel squeaked once as he moved out of the lane. Claire exhaled. Remaining passengers, thank you. Lila lowered her phone. The clip was still recording, and in the corner of the screen, Marcus's bent boarding pass lay beside the false one. Lila Monroe did not mean to keep recording. Her thumb hovered over the red button, but Claire's voice came through the gate speaker, smooth as glass. Thank you for your patience, passengers. We are completing final documentation. Documentation. The word felt wrong. Marcus stood between a vending machine and a closed service door. The lane had swallowed most of the crowd. His suitcase waited beside him, one wheel angled inward. Lila stepped closer. Did she really enter passenger preference? Marcus did not turn. You saw the slip. I saw it. The red dot shook on her screen. I film people yelling. I'm not yelling. No, she said. That's what makes it worse. Across the counter, Milo Reyes stared at his tablet. A new amber alert pulsed. Bridge caution unresolved. Seat change manual override. Dana Cross arrived with a paper cup, her lanyard twisted around 2 fingers. Dana, Milo said, you need to see this. Not now. Before they closed the door. Claire turned. Milo, this is handled. It isn't maintenance anymore. Grant Keller's voice snapped through Claire's headset. Clean departure. No exceptions. Move him out. Claire touched the earpiece. Understood. Marcus wrote on the slip. 6:31 a.m. Reassignment entered as preference after objection. Lila whispered, Why write everything down? So no one else has to remember it perfectly. She lowered the phone for half a second. Milo angled the tablet against his vest. Seat 2A was moved manually at 6:08. Then 34F was printed as voluntary at 6:23. Dana's mouth tightened. Who authorized it? That's the problem. Claire's nail struck the counter. Boarding door closes in 2 minutes. Victor stepped between Marcus and the lane. Sir, you need to come with me. Where? Service corridor. We'll sort it out away from passengers. Will a supervisor be present? Victor looked at Dana. Dana started forward, but Claire spoke first. The passenger refused all reasonable options. Layla lifted her phone again. That's not what happened. Claire's eyes found the lens. Recording staff in a secure boarding area may violate policy. May? Lila asked. Victor glanced at her. Put the phone down. Marcus turned. She is a witness. She's interfering. She hasn't moved. Claire's voice lost its polish. Mr. Hale, you are creating a scene. The jet bridge door gave a heavy click. Through the window, the cabin lights glowed warm and unreachable. Marcus folded the false slip behind the bent pass. Milo raised his tablet. Dana, if this closes, the log certifies a clean board. Donna's cup trembled. Coffee touched the lid. Claire, Dana said, hold the door. Claire did not answer. Grant's voice returned. Close it. Claire pressed the key. The screen above B17 changed from boarding to closed. A sound came from Lila's throat. Milo lowered the tablet. Dana stared at her cup. Victor opened the service door. Fluorescent light spilled across the carpet. Marcus picked up his suitcase. Before he stepped inside, he looked at Lila's phone, Milo's tablet, and Dana's coffee. Please save both records, he said. The service door shut behind him, leaving the bent pass visible through the clear pocket of his folder for a second. The service corridor smelled of wet carpet and old electricity. Marcus walked ahead of Victor because the hallway was narrow. The roar of the terminal softened into a low vibration. Overhead, a fluorescent tube flickered. Set your bag there, Victor said. Marcus placed the suitcase beside a cabinet. Its wheel squeaked. Am I detained? You're asked to wait while they document the incident. Who is documenting it? Gate management. Then, the person who created the incident is writing the record. Victor rubbed the bridge of his nose. No answer came. The service door opened again. Claire stepped in with his leather folder under one arm. That belongs to me, Marcus said. You left it at the counter. I did not give you permission to open it. I didn't open it. A corner of white photo paper slid free. The old picture fell, touched the wall with a soft scratch, and skimmed across the gray floor. Naomi's 14-year-old smile stopped against Victor's black shoe. No one moved. Marcus bent, but Victor reached down first. His fingers hovered over the picture. Don't, Marcus said. Victor froze. Marcus picked it up himself. Dust clung to the edge. He wiped it with his thumb over his daughter's dress and his late wife's hand. Claire looked away. We need you to sign a refusal statement. Marcus slid the photo into his wallet. The sleeve caught again. I did not refuse boarding. You refused the available seat. You closed the door after giving away mine. She held out a clipboard. This allows compensation. I asked for the policy. You gave me a false record. Victor shifted. Signing may make this easier. Marcus looked at him. For whom? Claire's phone buzzed. She glanced down, and her face changed. Grant wants him in the admin room, she said. Victor opened a second door. This way. As Marcus lifted his folder, the bent boarding pass slid halfway out. Claire saw 2A above the false 34F. You won't need that, she said. I will. Through a narrow safety window, Marcus saw the aircraft attached to the tug. Its tail light blinked red through morning haze. Inside the admin room, a metal table waited under a wall clock that read 6:37. 3 chairs. No window. The air smelled of toner and old coffee. Claire placed the clipboard in front of Marcus. Sign at the bottom. Marcus sat without touching the pen. You are making a travel inconvenience into a formal conflict. A formal conflict already exists. You were offered transport. I was offered a lie. Victor looked down at Naomi's photo, still not fully inside the wallet. Claire followed his gaze. Is that your family? Marcus's hand covered the wallet. The clock sounded too loud. My daughter, he said. Then I'm sure she'd want you to get home instead of prolonging this. Marcus looked up at her. She wanted me to keep a promise. The radio on Victor's shoulder crackled. Flight 918 pushing back. Outside the wall, the engines deepened into a distant growl. Marcus folded the unsigned statement once and set it beside the bent pass. Call your supervisor, he said. Claire reached for the paper, but Marcus kept 2 fingers on it. At that moment, beyond the closed room, Flight 918 began to move without him. The engine sound faded behind the wall like a door closing underwater. Marcus sat at the metal table with the bent boarding pass on his left, the false 34F slip on his right, and the unsigned statement between them. The fluorescent light made every paper look pale. Claire stood over him. Flight 918 has departed the gate. Then your timeline is fixed. Grant Keller entered at 6:41, carrying a tablet. Mr. Hale, he said. Grant Keller, Operations Director. Marcus looked at the clock. I asked for a supervisor before the door closed. And I'm here now. After the seat was reassigned, the record altered, and the aircraft pushed. Grant set the tablet down. You were offered alternate seating. You chose not to travel. Marcus slid the false slip across the table. This says preference. Who entered that? The system generated it, Claire said. Marcus turned to Grant. Is that your position? Grant's jaw tightened. One passenger dispute cannot stop a morning wave. The word wave landed softly, but Marcus heard what sat under it. Crews, fuel windows, cargo slots. Behind Grant, a laminated map showed colored lines feeding like veins. You're running flows through B and C today, Marcus said. That's not relevant. It is if your records are wrong. Claire folded her arms. Are you threatening the airport? No. Then sign the statement. Marcus rested his palm on the paper. The chair edge pressed into his other hand. A red line appeared across his skin. Grant lowered his voice. Cooperate, and we can put you on a later flight and close this as customer service. I asked for written policy. You received a reasonable alternative. I asked for an audit trail. You're not entitled to internal systems. Marcus looked at the bent pass. The corner had lifted again. I know. The tablet buzzed. Grant angled the screen away. Marcus caught 2 words. Manual correction. Claire saw them too. Her pen stopped. Grant said, Give us 10 minutes. For what? To verify the seat history. The aircraft has moved. Then we verify for compensation. Marcus picked up his phone. Naomi's missed text sat on the lock screen. Please don't disappear today. He did not open it. He scrolled to a secure contact labeled HMGCOC. Victor shifted as if a call itself could become disorder. Sir, Victor said, maybe don't escalate. Marcus looked at him. This is the de-escalation. Claire gave a short breath. Who are you calling? Marcus pressed the number. A woman answered. Crisis operations. This is Hale. Grant's head lifted. Marcus kept his voice even. Begin contract integrity hold. All dependent nodes. Immediate verification. No exceptions. Outside, a printer began spitting paper fast. The woman on the line said, Confirming authority? Marcus opened his wallet. Naomi's photo resisted the torn sleeve. He slid a small black key card from behind it and placed it on the table. Authority confirmed, he said. Use my personal key. Grant stared at the card. Claire whispered, Hale? Marcus ended the call and opened Naomi's text. His thumb hovered over the reply box, but the first alarm sounded beyond the door, low and steady. On Grant's tablet, green flight rows began changing to amber. The first amber row on Grant's tablet was followed by another, then 6 more. A printer outside the admin room chattered without stopping. Down the corridor, a phone rang until someone slapped it silent. Grant snatched up the tablet. "What did you initiate?" "A verification hold." "On what authority?" Marcus slid the black keycard behind Naomi's photo. The torn sleeve caught. "Contract authority," he said. Claire stared at the screen. "Hale Meridian Group." Grant's eyes moved from the name to Marcus's face. For the first time, he did not look at the jacket. "That company handles cargo," Grant said. "Among other things." Grant went to the door. "This is excessive." Marcus picked up the bent pass. "So was changing a record after I objected." Victor's radio cracked. "Admin, holds are populating across beacon course." Grant pressed the button. "Maintain normal operations." Static answered. "We can't." "System says node verification required." Claire's pen rolled off the table and struck the floor. At 6:46, the wall phone rang. Grant grabbed it. "Keller." His shoulders rose. "No, do not release manually. I said, do not." He stopped. "Who signed the hold?" Marcus said nothing. Grant listened, then lowered the phone. "Operations wants all dependent flights paused until Hale Meridian confirms data integrity." "But Flight 918 already pushed," Claire said. "Then it waits." Through the wall came a heavier sound, the building waking under pressure. Marcus's phone lit up. Amara Singh. He answered on speaker. "Marcus, we have 167 affected flights across ground handling, crew shuttle, cargo relay, and emergency routing dependencies," Amara said. "Revenue exposure is escalating. Current modeled risk is 3.9 billion if corrupted data propagates." Claire gripped the chair. Grant pointed at the phone. "You cannot hold an airport hostage over a seat." Marcus looked at him. "This was never about a seat." "Then what is it?" "Records." Amara continued. "We are seeing manual corrections from Hartwell operations, seat reassignments, delay suppressions, crew timestamp edits. Narrow to passenger service first?" Marcus watched Claire's throat move. "Yes," he said. "Begin at B17. Grant reached for the phone. Victor stepped between them. Claire's voice thinned. "I was following flow direction." "Whose?" Marcus asked. Grant snapped. "Do not answer that." The door opened. Dana Cross stood there with Milo behind her, tablet hugged against his vest. The corridor flashed amber from a departure board. Dana looked at the papers. "Mr. Keller, passengers are asking why 23 flights changed status." Milo swallowed. "It's more now." Claire pointed at Marcus. "He caused this." Milo shook his head. "No. The hold only found what was already wrong." The words stayed in the small room. Amara said, "I'm sending the first packet to Dana Cross and Airport Legal. Preserve gate footage." Lila's voice came from the corridor. "I have video." Everyone turned. She stood behind Milo, phone in both hands, red dot still glowing. Marcus placed the bent pass on top of the false slip, aligning 2A over 34F. "Good," he said. "Save it twice." On the nearest monitor, green lines kept turning amber. Milo held the tablet as if it might burn his hands. The corridor outside the admin room had filled with suitcase wheels, radio calls, and the chime of another delayed flight. Amber light washed over Lila's phone. Dana Cross stepped inside. Everyone stopped talking. Grant turned on her. "You don't have authority." "I have authority to stop a bad record from becoming worse." She set her coffee on the table. "Milo, show me." Milo plugged his tablet into the wall monitor. For 2 seconds, the screen stayed black. Claire exhaled. Then the log appeared. 6:08 a.m. Seat 2. A opened. 6:09 a.m. Seat 2. A assigned to Preston Vale. 6:23 a.m. Marcus Hale reassigned to 34F. Reason: passenger preference. Entered by C. Whitmore. Claire's hand went to her throat. That field auto-populates. Milo's voice was quiet. Not in this module. Lila lifted her phone. I have her saying he could take 34F or be marked refused. Grant pointed at her. You will not release internal proceedings. I already posted the gate clip, Lila said. The room seemed to lose air. Dana looked up. You did what? 38 seconds. No edits. Just him asking for policy. Grant's tablet buzzed. He glanced down and swallowed. Marcus placed his marked hand beside the bent boarding pass. Do you still have the original file? He asked Lila. Yes. Back it up before anyone asks you to delete it. Claire snapped. That is interference. It is a witness preserving what she saw, Dana said. Ruth Bell's cane tapped at the threshold. Victor moved to block her, then stopped. I'm sorry, Ruth said. They let me off before the door sealed. I told them I left my medicine at the gate. She held up a pouch. I didn't. Marcus stood. Mrs. Bell, you should not miss your flight. She looked at the two slips. I watched one person lose his. Her fingers shook when Dana gave her a witness form. The pen scratched. When she signed, the R looked pulled through gravel. I heard him ask, Ruth said. He asked for the rule, not special treatment. Grant walked to the wall phone. Legal needs to take control. Dana answered before he could dial. Legal is receiving the packet. The hallway printer started again. Sheets slid into the tray, warm and curling. Milo placed one beside Marcus's pass. Manual override summary, he said. Marcus scanned it. This is not only my seat. No, Milo said. There are 12 passenger service edits this morning. Claire's face drained. Lila whispered, 12? Amara's voice returned from Marcus's phone. Same credentials, same pressure window. Same suppressed notes. Grant's tone hardened. That is outside the scope of a passenger complaint. Marcus looked at the false slip. Then widened the scope. Dana picked up her coffee, realized she had not taken a sip, and set it down again. A gate runner appeared in the doorway. Mr. Keller, news crews ask about the flight freeze. Grant turned toward Claire, but Claire was staring at Ruth's form. Marcus folded Naomi's photo into his wallet. This time, the torn sleeve held. Start with the footage, he said. Milo reached for the controls. On the screen, B-17 reappeared, bright and crowded, with Claire's hand moving toward the keyboard before Marcus had finished speaking. The footage froze on Claire's hand above the keyboard. The boardroom heard only the projector fan and the rumble of stalled aircraft beyond glass. Marcus sat at the far end of the table with the bent boarding pass under his hands. The false slip lay beneath it, 34F showing like a bruise. Helen Ward adjusted her silver frames. At 61, the airport oversight chair had the stillness of someone who let louder people expose themselves first. Run it again, she said. Milo clicked the trackpad. On the screen, Marcus asked, Print the audit trail. Claire answered, Sir, you don't have access to records. Behind her, Grant's headset voice said, Close it. Thomas Reed rubbed both palms over his tie. Gate feed? Ms. Monroe's phone, Dana said. Camera confirms timing. Grant stood near the wall. Context is missing. Helen turned to him. Then provide it. We had a departure wave, weather pressure, a passenger refusing an available seat. Marcus did not look up. My seat was available until it was given to someone else. Amara Singh appeared on the screen. The hold was triggered by integrity flags, not by a personal complaint. B17 was where the flags became visible. Claire sat 2 chairs from Marcus. I didn't know who he was. Helen removed her glasses. That is not the question before us. Thomas leaned toward the monitor. What systems are affected? Ground routing, crew shuttles, cargo timing, medical routing, and service sequencing, Amara said. 167 flights remain held until the data can be trusted. Revenue exposure? 3.9 billion if records corrupt downstream. Grant gripped the chair. Speculative. Conservative, Amara said. Lila stood near the door with her phone. Ruth Bell sat beside her, cane across her knees. Helen looked at Marcus. State your role for the record. Marcus lifted the bent pass. The corner had split from being smoothed too many times. My name is Marcus Hale. I am the founder and CEO of Hale Meridian Group. Thomas exhaled once. Claire's eyes closed. Marcus continued. My company manages coordination services under contract. That did not give me a better right to dignity. It showed me what happens when records are changed. Helen nodded to Milo. Next clip. The screen showed Ruth raising one hand, then lowering it when Claire threatened to mark her request, refused. I should have stayed, Ruth whispered. Marcus turned toward her. You came back. Her cane tapped the chair leg once. Dana placed a log beside Helen. Same credentials on 12 edits. Same command channel. Helen read the top page. Mr. Keller, surrender access credentials. Grant straightened. You can't suspend operations during an active hold. I just did. Victor entered with a badge envelope. Grant dropped his card inside. The plastic hit paper with a dull click. Helen faced Marcus again. What releases the flights? Verified records, Marcus said. Preserved footage. Notice to affected passengers. Independent review before anyone rewrites this day. Thomas looked at the amber wall of delays outside. How long? Marcus watched Claire's hands curl around a paper cup she had not drunk from. Long enough to stop guessing who deserves the truth. The investigation room was colder than the boardroom. Leona Pierce arrived at 8:12 a.m. with a gray case and every pen placed parallel to the table edge. She was 55, an auditor with narrow glasses and a voice that made people answer. Original feeds first, she said. Grant sat without his badge. Claire held a paper cup gone soft. Marcus sat across from the screen. The bent pass lay beside the false slip. Leona nodded to Milo. Gate camera. B17 filled the screen. Claire's hand slid the ticket back across the counter. Pause. Timestamp? 6:09:14, Milo said. And the first manual seat movement? 6:08:51. So the movement came before she told him the cabin was reconciled. Claire swallowed. I believed the seat had to be freed. Because of what record? Claire looked at Grant. Grant said, Operational pressure is not a directive to falsify. Leona wrote 2 words. The pen made a dry scratch. Marcus watched the replay. His face was still, but the pass slid toward him like something refused at a bank window. Plastic on laminate. The sound filled the room. Audio, Leona said. Claire's recorded voice played. Sir, you don't have access to records. Was he asking for access? Leona asked. Or for the audit trail to be printed by authorized staff? Claire's fingers tightened. The cup creased. He asked for the trail. Say it clearly. He asked for the audit trail. Ruth sat against the wall with her cane between her knees. He asked before the door closed. Lila's phone showed the same angle. The red dot trembled in the original file. You edited nothing? Leona asked. No. I filmed because I thought he might lose his temper. Lila looked down. He didn't, Claire whispered. I didn't know he was... Leona cut in. Do not finish that sentence unless you want it in the record. On the next replay, the false slip printed. Passenger preference. Claire reached for it before the paper stopped moving. Who selected the reason field? Claire's lips parted. Grant leaned back. Answer. She turned on him. You said clean wave, no exceptions. I did not say choose false preference. You didn't have to. You taught us what happened when the dashboard went red. Leona marked the page. Pressure and action will be separated. Both can be true. Marcus tapped the bent pass once. How many passengers received corrected records this morning? Milo handed over a packet. 12 known. 4 assistance notes suppressed. 3 downgrades. 5 delay removals. Ruth covered her mouth. Leona looked at Claire. Did you see his ID? Yes. Did it match the ticket? Yes. Did he raise his voice? No. Did he block the lane? No. He moved when asked. Then why did the incident say refusal and disruption? Claire closed her eyes. Because if I wrote what happened, she said, the flight would not count clean. No one spoke over the hum. Marcus slid Naomi's photo from his wallet and pressed the torn sleeve flat with his thumb. Leona saw the motion. Mr. Hale, do you want to add a statement? He looked at the pass, then at Ruth, then at Claire. Yes, he said. Ask how many people learned to leave before they were written into the wrong version of a day. Leona wrote every word. Grant Keller signed the suspension notice at 9:03 a.m. without sitting down. The table held his badge, the unsigned report, and a paper cup Claire had crushed until coffee seeped into the seam. Outside the glass wall, passengers watched the boards turn back from amber. Helen Ward slid an envelope toward Grant. Your credentials are disabled pending review. Grant looked at Marcus. You wanted a public sacrifice. Marcus stood with Naomi's text unanswered. I wanted records no one had to survive. There was no winning side at B-17. Grant picked up the badge, then remembered it opened nothing now. The plastic clicked against the table. Claire sat 2 chairs away, pale under the ceiling lights. I entered the field, she said. Grant turned. Claire? No, let me finish. She looked at Leona Pierce. I saw his ID. I saw the seat. I knew Mrs. Bell had a note. I told myself the morning mattered more because every supervisor above me had said it in different words. Helen asked, Were you instructed to falsify passenger preference? Not directly. Then why do it? Claire rubbed the red groove her lanyard had left on her neck. Because a clean screen got rewarded. A messy truth got someone called into his office. Grant pushed back his chair. That is self-protection. It is, Claire said, and it hurt people. The door opened. Naomi Hale stood in the hall, rain on her black coat, a visitor sticker crooked on her lapel. At 24, she had her father's quiet mouth and her mother's sharp eyes. Marcus lowered his phone. Naomi. You didn't answer. I was about to. You always are. The old photo sat half visible in Marcus's wallet. I saw the clip, Naomi said, at the fundraiser. Everyone saw it. I'm sorry. For missing it or for making me watch strangers treat you that way? Marcus did not answer fast enough. Claire whispered, Miss Hale, I'm sorry. Naomi looked at her. Don't use me to reach him. Leona placed the disciplinary packet in front of Claire. You are suspended from passenger-facing duties pending a full hearing. Claire's hand moved toward the pen, stopped, then signed. Grant took his envelope and walked to the door. Victor waited outside. You know what this costs? Grant asked. Marcus looked through the glass at Ruth Bell near a new gate, Milo beside her, checking a tablet. I'm beginning to. Grant left. Naomi picked up the wallet. The photo resisted the torn sleeve again. She eased it free and laid it flat. Mom hated this picture, she said. She said the flash made her blink. She kept it anyway. So did I. Naomi's fingers stayed on the edge of the photo, but she did not give it back. You promised tonight. I know. Do you? He looked at the table, the bent pass, the false slip, the badge, the report no one had signed. I know more than I did this morning. Dana entered with a folder. Mr. Hale, the board is asking what you require before releasing the remaining holds. Naomi looked at him then, not as a daughter waiting for an apology, but as someone trying to understand the man in front of her. Marcus placed the bent boarding pass over Grant's empty badge space. Not money, he said. Rules that leave a trace when someone is told to disappear. The boardroom had been rearranged by 10:18 a.m. Grant's chair was gone. In its place sat printed protocols, 3 pens, and 1 blank signature line. Morning light came through the terminal glass and caught dust above the table. Helen Ward read the title. Passenger Record Integrity Policy. Thomas Reed frowned. This is broad. It should be, Marcus said. Claire stood near the wall, no headset, hands around a paper cup she had not tasted. Naomi sat beside Ruth Bell, the old photo between them. Dana opened the folder. No manual seat reassignment without dual authorization. No assistance note suppression. Written reason required when a cabin change is made. Passenger may request the audit trail be preserved. And public notice? Marcus asked. At every gate, Dana said. Thomas shifted. Posting creates liability. Marcus looked through the glass. Passengers watched crews restart the morning. Liability already existed, he said. You hid it from people who didn't know the words. Helen turned to Marcus. You are refusing compensation? I am refusing a private settlement. Claire's cup crinkled. That doesn't erase what happened, Marcus said. I know, Claire said. Her eyes dropped to Grant's empty place. I still pressed the key. Ruth's cane tapped under the table. Then help write the rule that stops the next hand. Leona slid a second document forward. Independent Review Panel. 90 days. Witness access. Monthly publication of corrected records. Publication? Thomas asked. Numbers, Marcus said. Enough daylight to see if the same thing returns. Naomi watched him. You thought about this before today. Marcus touched the bent pass. I've read too many letters from people who had no video. Dana looked at Lila. The board requests your original file. You'll get it, Lila said, with a copy kept outside. Milo cleared his throat. If preference is entered after a passenger objects, I can make it lock for review. Can it be done today? Thomas asked. Pilot by tonight, Milo said. Full by 2 weeks. Donna said. No one will bury it. Marcus looked at her. Put that in writing, too. Pens scratched. A printer warmed with a dry hum. Outside, someone called a group, softer than before. Naomi picked up the old photo. Dad, he turned. She slid the photograph into a new wallet Dana had found after noticing the torn sleeve. This one won't catch. Marcus took it carefully. For a moment, all the language on the table fell behind leather closing. Helen placed the final page in front of him. When you sign, we begin release of verified nodes. Marcus read the first line again. Every passenger has the right to a written explanation for involuntary changes to confirmed travel. He signed Marcus Hale, slowly, without flourish. Amara's voice came through the speaker. Receipt confirmed. Releasing cleared flights in sequence. Outside, the amber boards began to break apart into green. Ruth touched the edge of the protocol. It's only paper. Marcus looked at Claire, Milo, Lila, Dana, then Naomi. Paper is where a system admits someone was there, he said. At gate B17, a worker lifted the first small sign toward the wall, waiting for someone to mark exactly where it should hang. 3 weeks later, the first sign at gate B17 was not large. It hung beside the scanner in a clear frame, the kind most passengers missed until they needed it. Marcus saw it before he saw the aircraft. Every passenger may request a written explanation for involuntary seat or service changes. Audit records must be preserved upon request. Naomi stood beside him in a wool coat, holding 2 coffees. You're early. I'm trying something new. She handed him one. Careful. That sounds like growth. The terminal smelled of cinnamon, floor polish, and rain coming in on coats. A gate agent helped an older man check a mobility note, then printed a receipt and pointed to the sign without irritation. The man folded it into his passport. Marcus watched until Naomi nudged him. You're doing that thing. What thing? Counting everything. He looked down at the new wallet in his hand. The old photo sat inside without catching. Naomi's 14-year-old smile was still too bright from the flash, and her mother's hand still rested on her shoulder. I'm counting less, he said. Across the concourse, Milo Reyes walked out of an operations office wearing a supervisor badge clipped crooked to his vest. He spotted Marcus and lifted one hand. Pilot lock is holding, Milo said when he reached them. 2 attempted preference entries after objection this week. Both stopped for review. Who reviewed them? Not the person who made the change. Milo gave a small smile. That part mattered. A little farther down, Ruth Bell sat near the window with a paper cup balanced beside her cane. Her daughter was with her this time, fussing over a scarf Ruth did not need. Ruth waved Marcus over. I got my written receipt before I even asked. Good. It felt strange, she said, like someone expected me to have a voice. Naomi looked at her father, then at the sign. Near the service desk, Lila Monroe stood with a camera bag instead of a phone raised for a clip. She had posted the full video, not the cut version with dramatic music. The comment at the top was her own. I filmed because I expected anger. I kept filming because I saw control. Still recording? Naomi asked. Only interviews now, Lila said. With permission. She nodded toward Marcus. Your panel starts at noon. He shook his head. The panel is Dana's. Dana Cross appeared behind her, carrying a binder marked First Public Integrity Report. I'll take that sentence as support. The report listed 12 corrected passenger records, 4 restored assistance notes, 3 employee retrainings, and 1 terminated operations contract. Grant Keller's name was not printed inside. The decision had been formal: removal from airport operations, referral to contract review, no public spectacle. Claire Whitmore had not returned to the gate. She had accepted a non-passenger role during the investigation and was required to complete ethics training before any future reinstatement. She wrote a statement, Dana said quietly. Marcus did not reach for it. She admitted the false entry. She also named the pressure chain. Then use it, he said. Do you want to read it? He looked toward B17. A young agent was explaining the new policy to a confused passenger, tapping the sign with one finger, not the scanner screen. Not today. Naomi slipped her hand into the bend of his arm as boarding began. First class and passengers needing assistance, the agent called. Marcus did not move at first. The line formed without pressing. Ruth's daughter helped her stand, but the agent came around the counter and met her halfway. Naomi watched the small correction happen in real time. "You missed the fundraiser," she said. "I did. You also came home with 12 other people's names in your pocket." Marcus took the bent boarding pass from the back of the wallet. He had kept it behind the photo, not as proof anymore, but as a marker of where the paper trail began. The corner had softened flat. Naomi touched it once. "Mom would have framed that ugly thing. She would have told me to buy a better wallet first." Naomi smiled, and it stayed. When Marcus reached the scanner, the agent checked his pass, then looked up at him fully. "Good morning, Mr. Hale. Seat 2A." Marcus accepted the printed receipt she offered before he asked. Behind him, Naomi said, "Dad." He turned. She held up the old photo. "You forgot this." He took it, but she did not let go right away. For 1 second, they held the same corner of the same picture. "I'll be home for dinner," he said. "I know," she answered. He walked down the jet bridge slowly, past the glass where morning light rested on the wing. In his pocket, the receipt and the old photo lay side by side. The paper did not bend. If this story reminded you of a moment when someone was dismissed, misjudged, or forced to prove what should have been respected from the start, share your thoughts in the comments. Stories like this matter because many people never get a camera, a witness, or a written record when the system gets their day wrong. Share this with someone who believes dignity and justice should not depend on status, clothing, or who speaks the loudest. And subscribe for more emotional stories about quiet strength, accountability, and the kind of change that reaches beyond one person. Sometimes the smallest rule on the wall is there because someone refused to disappear.